We are back for another video in the Hoop Scoop Media Top 100 Countdown, checking at number 95 in the country. We have the Penn State Nittany Lions. But yeah, before we get into the video, make sure to follow us on social media at Hoop Scoop Media on Instagram and Twitter. Appreciate any follows, any support there. Really helps us out and really helps more people find our content. Also, assuming you're watching this on YouTube, yeah, I'd really appreciate anyone that would subscribe and turn on post notifications so you get notified for every top 100 countdown video. You're still going to have 94 of them after this one. So a lot of content to soak up, and you're going to be the first, going to want to be the first one to know about it. So yeah, with that being said, yeah, also follow Luke at College Hoops Outlet on Instagram and CHO Talk Sports on Twitter. But yeah, that being said, let's get into number 95 Penn State. And Luke, if I am not mistaken, you're a little bit higher on them than I am. Is that correct?
Yeah, when I went through the team preview, it was probably close to a month ago now. I had them 13th. Since I've kind of tracked back a little, I think 14th, 15th more appropriate, but I do like all the pieces that they return.
Yes. Well, we will get into that. But yeah, Mike Rhoades entering year two of his Penn State tenure after coming over from VCU. Year one was okay. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. It started out not great. They did drop a bye game to Bucknell, which you do not like to see, but in Big Ten play, they were decently competitive. 9-11 conference record, won a game in the Big Ten conference tournament. So definitely a solid overall season considering all the factors. I think they about lived up to expectations. Um, yeah, but they lose a handful of significant pieces. Qudus Wahab exhausted his eligibility. Key big man for them last season. They also lost Kanye Clary, who actually left the team with 8 games left in the season, but was a big time scorer before his departure. A few transfers to the Philadelphia area, and Jameel Brown, who transferred to Temple, and Demetrius Lilly, who transferred to LaSalle. And some other end of the bench players either transferring or exhausting their eligibility, as Leo O'Boyle and Raquandis Mitchell exhausted their eligibility, and Favor Ere transferred to Bryant, and Braji Gudmundsson transferred to Campbell. But yeah, besides those losses, Mike Rhoades did keep a handful of his team back at Penn State, and most notably is Ace Baldwin, who is one of the best point guards in college basketball. Um, really great defender, was the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. Really a pest whenever he's guarding you. Don't want to see him if you're on offense. But yeah, also a really good passer. Third in Big Ten playing assist rate with a 34.9% assist rate there. And yeah, really scored the ball well too. Honestly, not a crazy efficient score, but also definitely not bad there. Scored in double digits the last 15 games prior to the last game of the season. So yeah, Ace Baldwin, one of the better players in college basketball, honestly.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. I think he has a chance to be a an All Big Ten first teamer this year if Penn
Yes.
State is as good as they were last year in conference. Last year they were 9-11, and that's including two 20-point blown leads against Minnesota each time they played. So I mean they're close to they were close to an above 500 team, and you return your veteran leader, your point guard Ace Baldwin. He's been with Rhodes um, in the past at VCU, and
Yeah.
then last year at Penn State. Brings it on both sides of the floor and gets his teammates involved too.
Yes. Ace Baldwin, although I'm not particularly high on Penn State based on that being 95th, I love Ace Baldwin. He is really competes on both ends. But yeah, also still there is Nick Kern, his teammate at VCU formerly, and now also his teammate at Penn State. He's been at Penn State. But yeah, they transferred and made the move over with Rhodes and Baldwin on the wing. And yeah, he's really athletic defensive piece. Um, not doesn't do a ton in offense, but yeah, definitely can use that athleticism to get to the rim, where he was very efficient in conference play. So yeah. he's definitely a high major player in the fact that he is so good of an athlete.
Yeah, last year they had Baldwin and Clary to be their scorers, and Kern was
Yes.
able to just be on the floor, be that defensive piece, physical guy on the wing, and I think he's in that same role this season.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Last year, once Clary departed the team, DeMarco Dunn was the guy that was inserted into the starting lineup, and seemingly maybe he'll be in the starting lineup again. There's definitely a few different things that they can do, but yeah, he has that experience. He was a solid player last year. Definitely had his ups and downs. Definitely showed some flashes in the games he started. Was a solid shooter on the year. Made about 1 3 a game on pretty solid efficiency. So nothing crazy, but he definitely didn't look completely out of place starting there. Is what I would say.
Yeah, shot 36.6% from behind the arc last year. Um, I think he not necessarily break out, but I think he could see a boost to his production this year if he does start. I haven't projected to start, but there's definitely
Yeah.
a couple of guys with higher ceilings that you could place there.
Yes. Another starter returning is Zach Hicks, and he is the real shooter on the team. That's his main calling card. Is Hicks is a four who can really shoot a ball, making 67 threes on the season, leading the team. And yeah, he's not particularly versatile, or he doesn't bring a ton to the floor besides his shooting. Although he's not like a bad athlete, not like he can definitely do other things, but his main impact point is his shooting. And yeah, um, he did have a stretch late in the season where he scored 13 points or more in 7 games. So definitely, if that's something that can maybe turn to more of a consistent habit and his shooting can become a little more efficient, definitely a very valuable piece.
Yeah, and I think that's what he's brought in there to do is be that floor spacer and be the shooter. Last year they had Wahab in the post, and we'll get to their physical presence in a moment
Yes,
for this
will.
year.
But first, we do have another North Carolina former transfer besides Dunn. That's Puff Johnson coming back for his final year of eligibility. And yeah, he was actually the best in the country at not turning the ball over. He only had 4 turnovers on the season and a 2.5% turnover rate, which is very impressive. And yeah, he's just kind of a nice plug in, fill in piece. Wasn't crazy, but can kind of score from all 3 levels and just a solid piece to have. With all the experience he brings, solid size, can shoot the ball a little bit. Definitely don't hate to bring him back.
Yeah, nowhere near consistent, but there were some games where you would watch and you would realize that he is Cameron Johnson's brother. But
Yes.
there's other times where you couldn't tell the two.
Yes, I definitely agree with that statement. But yeah, Penn State had an interesting transfer season. That's how I would put it. I don't know what to say about their transfer class. They were all like gambles that Mike Rhoades took. He took 4 players from the portal, and none of them are really overly proven. But we will see. They all have ceilings that are relatively high. So the guy I like the most is Freddie DeLeon the fifth. Coming over from Tennessee, where he was a top 50 recruit last year, actually enrolled early, like a year and a half ago, but was a top 50 recruit. So definitely high profile recruit, redshirted that first half year, as most free classes do. But yeah, he had a lot of hype going into the season. And then just got hurt a little bit during non-conference play and never was able to really work his way back into the rotation, never was able to see consistent minutes after that. But I think this is where I was talking about earlier, where maybe Dunn cannot start, and I think DeLeon, if he is fully healthy and is able to live up to the potential, I think him and Baldwin can be a pretty nice duo.
Yeah, he has a very high ceiling, and I think with how thin the backcourt is now, with a couple of those guys out, there's no way he doesn't get close to 20 minutes a game, and I think we'll really start to see him flourish this year.
Yes. Yeah. Rose did take guys with a lot of eligibility. DeLeon, 3 years left. So yeah, excited to see. I'm really excited to see what he does there. With the minutes should be there. Yeah, this should be his chance to shine. Another transfer they brought in was actually one that played a solid amount this year in Yannick Conan Niederhauser coming over from Northern Illinois. Big man there. Not a huge offensive piece, although he did score 27 points in their second to last game. So maybe that's a sign of something to come in the future. Maybe that was just a one-time fluke game where the defense was questionable on him. But regardless of his offensive abilities, he is a very good rim protector, one of the best in the country, over 10% block rate, which is extremely impressive. So yeah, I don't know how I feel about this, but like I think he's pretty athletic, good rim protector. I think those things will still translate at least. Um, what are your
Yeah,
thoughts on him?
I hyped him up a bit in the preview article I did. The big body replaces Wahab. You said he can be a good paint presence defensively, rebounds well, and I do think there's untapped offensive potential on that. And you talked about the 27-point game. That's probably the one Rhodes watched to put him on the scouting report. Just a 7 point per game guy in the MAC, but I do think there's something there with YKN. That's what I'm going to call him. I can't. Yes,
Yes, definitely an intriguing prospect. With he was on a bad Northern Illinois team that sent like everyone to high major, but yeah, we'll see. Definitely, the defensive rim protection isn't going to go anywhere. Another big man they got to kind of gives a nice contrast to him is Kachi Enze from Xavier. Um, Enze is more of a energy, physical guy. Just yeah, really rebounds, really gets after it. Yeah, definitely a little bit of a switch up in terms of Niederhauser's more of that athletic shot blocking, and NJ's just a big presence. It's plays with so much energy. But yeah, I think those two will likely battle it out for the starting job. Any thoughts on NJ specifically?
yeah. I like YKN to start with
Yeah.
the physical presence, and then Enze his energy off the bench gives him a different look, gives him a boost there.
Yes. Last transfer that Rhodes reeled in was Eli Rice in conference from Nebraska. Did not play a ton. He was hurt for the latter half of the year. But definitely showed some flashes. Is decently skilled at 6'8", and yeah, definitely some stuff to work with there. Can shoot it a little bit. We didn't see too much of him at Nebraska, but I think it's definitely a swing for the future that I would have no problem taking with his size, eligibility, and yeah.
Yeah, I think Nebraska fans were pretty split on him being like not what they wanted or hold on to him and see what he can still offer. So I do like bringing him in, and he'll be a backup piece for sure this year. And then with Ace, Dunn, and Kern gone next year, he'll likely see a lot bigger role.
Yes, yes. I am very I just transfer class as a whole, I am like I don't think it's like that talented and like I mean, it's definitely very unproven, but the thing I do like is that Rhodes got guys with eligibility. Three of the guys have 3 years left, and YKN has two. So yeah, like it's really been nailed in that guys really have good years in their second year as a transfer. So that's like a common thing. Like, and all these guys will get to that point. I'm just not sure with some of these guys how good they actually are, but yeah, Rhodes really was focusing on his multiple year of eligibility guys. And yeah, I mean, I think these are all like swings for the future. I maybe would have liked to get someone who can like has proven to contribute right away, but we will see. We will see how that ends up. Also, for freshmen coming into the fold, I think if there's one that can really play right away, it's probably Miles Goodman. Um, Due to his pedigree, he's a four-star recruit, and also he can really maybe compete with those two at the center position because with so many unknowns there, maybe he's the one that emerges over to two. And then they also got Hudson Ward, Javen Carter, and Dominic Stewart. Don't see a ton of potential for those guys to play right away, but I will say Penn State is not looking super deep right now. Maybe if an injury or two happens, those guys will see minutes right away. So, any thoughts in their freshman class?
Yeah, I think Ward might be able to sneak a couple minutes on the wing, but Ace should be playing 30, 35, 40 minutes a game in the backcourt. So I think that kind of solidifies
Yes.
that. I do think Goodman has a chance to battle it out with those other two. Good athlete and defender, pretty
Hmm.
lengthy. And I mean, these are four guys again who are going to build up that long term future for Penn State. So I really like what they're building.
Yes, definitely a class for the future and just overall with the transfers and incoming recruits. But yeah, overall, I'm not super high in this team. I really like the Rhodes and Ace duo, but like I don't think they got better over the offseason. I think Wahab was actually a pretty big loss. I know a lot of people don't really like him, but I think he was pretty impactful just with he was like a solid big man and everything like you want from a big man was kind of like really got rebounds, protected the rim, was decent efficiency when he decided to put the ball in the basket. So I think they're really going to miss that, and with having so much uncertainty at that position this year, I think that's going to be a drop off that
Yeah,
they're really gonna see.
that's where I really kind of bought into YKN and what he can bring. He's just a really good athlete, super big body, 6'11", 255. Not quite as polished as Wahab. Wahab had 4 years of high major experience heading into last season, but I think he can be a fresh replacement. Won't be as good right away, but
Yes. Yeah, so I have them last in the Big Ten. I have them 18th. Um, Solid conference as a whole though, because they're last and they're still in the top 100, and a lot of high major conferences, so actually maybe like one other, but like there are some high major teams I did not include in my top 100. So definitely a good look for the Big Ten with every team inside that. But yeah, I don't know how much. I don't think this team's going to be very good, but I still do love Ace Baldwin. So like I think there's a chance that he's just able to make everything connect around him and they can be decent, but I don't know.
I mean, I think he can win a couple games just by
Yes,
himself.
that's yes.
Yeah, I as you said about the Big Ten being so even, there's like a top 5 or 6 to me that's concrete, and then I think everybody else is relatively close with each other. I could see any team really emerging from there. That's why I ended up going 15th for Penn State for my updated ranking here at the end of July, or start of August. I forget when this video goes up, but I moved Iowa just ahead of them. You hyped them up a bit to me, and then I think they're right in that range of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Washington.
Yes. After thinking over it, like I have Penn State last right now. Like I feel like they won't finish last. Like I feel like Ace is just like so like steady. Like I don't think they're gonna blow up.
I I
And
could
like
see
some
them
teams
being
could.
I could see them being the worst team in the Big Ten, like metrics wise, but I just don't think they lose more games than everybody else.
I kind of agree with that. I kind of agree with that. Still don't think they'll be very good, but yeah, Ace is gonna have them in every game, Loki. So yeah, any more thoughts about them before we head off and get ready for number 94?
I think there's a chance Ace Baldwin, first team All Big Ten, and I think he rivals Braden Smith and Jackson Shellstead for the best guard in the conference.
You think he can be an All-American?
I think if Penn State's really that good, he can
Yeah,
be,
Penn
but
State's gonna have to be good for that to happen.
otherwise team success holds him back, I think.
Yeah, if they like sneak into the tournament, and I think he can be one. But yeah, we will see. Yeah, appreciate everyone for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications so you don't miss number 94. And yeah, number 94 coming tomorrow. Penn State fans, leave in the comments your thoughts, reactions about this video. And yeah, you ready for number 94?